Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to my dad's converted weather studio. This is the walkthrough. We're the students of the game, and the show starts now. Oh, what a beautiful day it is. I'm your host, Jen Shreenese. This is the ever handsome Jet Wilson. Jet, how you feeling over there, pal?
Feeling good, man.
All right, here we go. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to us on Spotify or follow us on Instagram for a one-stop shop for everything at the handle Students of the Game TN. And then Jet, I've offered for people to email us questions, but I've received 0 questions so far. What do you? How do we get? What? Oh,
we did get a comment.
We did get
YouTube,
a comment.
though.
We did get a comment, and it was. Go ahead.
They were shouting out the freshman team.
Shout out the freshmen. That freshman team has been absolutely killing it. I can't wait for the future. Speaking of the future, we've got a big game on Friday night. As you guys know, this is our preview episode called The Walkthrough, presented by us, the students of the game. And Jet, Franklin is hosting Nolensville on a beautiful Friday night. And Jet, talk to me about your feeling about Nolensville coming to town now that Franklin's 2-2. With the opportunity halfway through the season to be above 500.
Yeah, I would have loved if you told me that before the season. Franklin is going to be going into week 5, 2-2. Got Nolensville and Summit back to back. Chance to go above 500 halfway through the year. Looking at what Nolensville has done this season, they beat Rockville by 3 points in the first game, 24-21.
Okay.
Lost to Antioch, 33-36.
Okay.
And then took care of McGavick and Glencliff by 40 points to nothing, both of them.
Right, so they're coming in 3-1.
Right, they're coming in 3-1. They've had a really great last 2 weeks, but it's tough to tell how good they are based off their opponents. It's not great competition they've been playing.
Absolutely, I completely understand. It's always hard to go when you're crossing division. Franklin being in 6A, and Nolensville's corrected in 5. They're in 5A.
They used to be 4,
but they might have moved up to 5. Okay, anyway, it's a different division.
No, they are because they're in Centennial's region.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so that is always kind of hard to cross comp there.
With the cupcake schedules.
Right, exactly. That's a big allegedly. Okay, before we get into this week's game, I always like to look back at the past.
Yep.
Okay, so talk to me about last year's game, Franklin versus Nolensville. That was at Nolensville, and Nolensville had a talented team last year.
They did. They had a tough team last year. It was one that Franklin lost 23-34. Franklin really had the offense going early in the game. It was kind of a back and forth matchup at first. Nolensville ended up coming away with it at the end, pulling away from Franklin. Their quarterback had 3 touchdown passes. Running back had 2 touchdown runs. Both of those guys are gone.
So
every touchdown that they had,
they're replacing some big time guys.
Is gone. So they lost 4 players that went on to play college football from that team.
Wow.
So it is a different Nolensville team going into this next game.
Well, hopefully this will be a beautiful Friday night. I think it'll be a beautiful Friday night. I haven't checked it. I don't know. Producer Chuck, what's the weather going to be?
It's going to be clear and about 80 kickoff, dropping down into the low 70s by the end of the fourth quarter.
Yes! Yes, Producer Chuck.
Talk about a lightning round. You know what I mean? The weather. How about that?
How about this guy?
We need to get this guy a full segment probably in the future. Let's work on that. Here we go.
I love that idea.
All right. Here we go. Okay, now let's get into this.
Let's
year's
leave the past in the past.
Let's leave the past in the past. Okay, here we go. I know you mentioned that they had a good quarterback last year. From what I've seen in the TV copy and the stream from this year's quarterback, if I had to describe him in one word for Nolensville's quarterback, it would be efficient, right? He's not out there that's kind of slinging it deep. He's not scrambling, not running quarterback powers with him. But the way Nolensville's offense is spread up is he's asked to make good reads, be on time and accurate. That's what a lot of NFL scouts, when they're looking at college quarterbacks, if you can throw, Joe Milton can throw 110 yards on his knees, but is that going to translate to quarterback play in the NFL? Probably not. Okay, all right. I know. Hey, look, I love Joe Milton as much as the next guy, but again, you're not throwing oranges in the game, right? So what they look at is you can be on time and accurate, okay? And that's what I'm seeing from this quarterback for Nolensville. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He's a rhythm guy. They're not asking him to do a ton in the passing game. They're helping him out a lot too. He's a shorter guy. They're rolling him outside of the pocket a lot, trying to give him easier throws. And they do let him throw the ball down the field a little bit, but it's definitely not the core of their offense and what they want to do.
Right, I totally understand. I mean, from what it looks like, and their offensive coordinator, what it looks like, one of their offensive coaches, I think it might be the offensive coordinator, Coach Thomason out there, Coach T. He's actually my receivers coach in high school, my offensive coordinator, my senior year, your sophomore year. So we've got experience with them. It looks like they're running a lot of RPOs, okay, a lot of zone runs, and then RPOs off of that, and some quick passes. They'll throw some verts in there, you know what? They'll throw some snag and whatnot, your typical drop back pass plays. But to your point, because of the quarterback style that they have, they're really trying to lean into that and running a lot of RPOs. One of the RPOs that I've seen them run a lot, we're going to actually show on one of our favorite segments, the chalkboard.
Let's go.
Come on. Bring it up. And so they ran this a lot against Franklin last year, and I saw them run it on the TV copy against Antioch this year. They're going to line up in this pistol. The running back's going to be in pistol, and they have kind of another running back in offset to the quarterback's left in this formation. And they're going to run what's called an RPO, which stands for run pass option, which means they're reading this key outside linebacker here. And all the offensive linemen and the running back are running a quick inside zone run play. So they're running play no matter what happens back here. If this guy kind of hovers or stays out here, they're going to hand this ball off and give because they have numbers in the box. But if he decides to start flowing with the run and with the rest, this guy right here is going to come underneath, and it's going to look like inside zone split, but he's going to run out in the flats and look for a pass. And if that guy decides to crash, this quarterback's going to pull the ball from the running back's mesh, throw it quickly out here to the flat, and then he's got numbers on the outside because they've got a running back block. Jed, anything about that RPOs or anything from the chalkboard? Any comments on their offensive style?
I think you did a great job explaining it. It's something that's difficult for a defense. You're asking them to cover a lot of different things on one play, but it's nothing Dr. Defense.
Nothing Dr. Defense can't handle because Dr. Defense is really just everybody's got to do their job.
Yep.
Everybody's got an assignment. As long as you don't get with the eye candy or get out of your assignment, they're going to be just fine. And when you're dealing with a quarterback whose play style, his success is being on time and accurate, the way you alleviate that is Dr. Defense is going to send some pressure and heat, which they're going to get pressure on the quarterback. If you get pressure on the quarterback and throw him off his timing, that throws their entire game plan off. And we've got good pass rushers,
for sure.
right? I mean, Donnie Defense doesn't just apply pressure, he blitzes, right? Yep. So normally you only rush 4 and there's 5 offensive linemen, okay? So if you blitz one extra person, that's still 5 on 5. That's called a pressure. And then if you blitz an extra person that more than they have to block, that's what's officially a blitz right there. So now that we've kind of talked about the offense, anything off of the offense before we switch to Nolensville's defense?
Yeah, let's we can't ignore number 14, Oliver Bender for Nolensville.
Yes.
He's their receiver. He's a taller guy. I think he's probably about 6'3".
Okay,
6'4".
so he's got a good frame on him.
But he's very athletic. He moves well for a tall guy. He's very smooth. He runs good routes.
Yeah.
Him and Andrew Dixon had a good battle last year. Andy won some. Bender won some. I'm excited to see those guys go at it again this week with Sean Gaka and David Domingo also in there rotating at corner. So he is definitely a guy that Donnie Webb is going to have to key in on. We cannot let that guy beat us because he's a great receiver.
I absolutely love that. Okay, let's switch to the other side of the ball. Talk to me about Franklin's offense versus Nolensville defense. What are you seeing out there?
Man, Franklin's offense, after what they did last week, it gets me excited looking at the Nolensville defense.
And Brewers decides to make the greatest throw. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so after watching last week's throw, where he makes probably the best throw I've seen him make, I decided to give him an extra nickname. Are you ready for this? Okay, so there's a popular movie out there starring Hugh Jackman called The Greatest Showman, but to me, Brewer is the greatest throwman. Okay, you like that? That's well deserving.
That's good,
you like that? We'll use that in the future then. Okay,
that's good.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, I have confidence against this Franklin offense against anybody if they played the way they did last week.
Absolutely.
I think it's gonna. They had success last year against Nolensville passing the ball. I know Nolensville has one of the same corners returning from last year.
Okay.
The other one kind of looked the same. It's hard to tell. You can't really read their numbers from the TV copy. As well, their rosters are messed up online. I don't know if you dug into that, but they don't have stats. They don't have accurate rosters.
Interesting.
On Max Preps, I couldn't find those. But I think they have some returners on this defense that couldn't stop Franklin last year. Franklin's improved. I think Coach Atkins is going to have a good game plan going this week. He had a great one last week. I'm excited to see this Franklin offense.
Yeah, from a schematic standpoint, do you see what kind of coverages are you seeing mostly Nolensville won. Can you tell from the TV copy, or is it hard to tell?
I saw them run a lot of cover 3, which means
Okay.
you have 3 people deep, 2 corners, and one of the safeties.
Okay.
They did a really good job in the TV copy disguising which safety was going to come down. So you still, even though there's 3 people dropping back, you still have 2 safeties in the game. So one of the safeties rolls up and is in the box for the run. One goes back to the middle of the field. They did a really good job timing up the quarterback snap count and going last second disguising who was going down.
And go ahead. Continue.
So they ran a lot of cover 3. Were you going to comment on cover 3?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about on the disguise. Cam Newton talks about this. When a quarterback, as soon as you break the huddle, your eyes are going to the safeties. That's the first place your eyes are going because they're going to tell you everything. And so most inexperienced defenses, they'll line up the way they will run the coverage post play. They'll line that up pre-snap, and so the quarterback sees, okay, the safety's rolling down this way. That means I know there's probably pressure coming from this way because he's got to replace somebody. But if you're doing that, if you're disguising well and doing that late, then the quarterback sees those safeties. He thinks there's no pressure coming. You roll late, and they're not expecting that pressure to come, which can throw off the timing. So disguising is something we're gonna have to watch out. But I have no doubt that with our skill positions, cover 3, we throw a good way to do cover 3. And I'm not saying they're gonna do this. Is like curl flats, anything to get those kind of schemes away where you're stretching people out and you're stretching those zones and you're finding kind of in the middle because they don't want to get beat deep in cover 3. So any of those intermediate routes, I would love to see. And we passed the ball so well last week that we just have such a good passing people. We have a good army to attack with on the passing game. I really would love us to see against this cover 3 attack it and go into the next into the next game. So
cover 3 was the main thing I saw. I also saw a little bit of what looked like quarters with cover 4.
Okay.
Because I saw safeties biting on routes that were shallow.
Gotcha.
So that's going to leave possibilities open in the post game to guys like Lucas Young, Luke Thompson, and Wills Jackson. I also saw a little bit of cover 2. Okay. I think they're just mixing.
They're probably a multiple defense, right?
They don't want us. They don't want the offense to be able to know what they're running.
Right. They don't want to show too many tendencies.
Right.
Okay. Before we move on to anything else specifically, before we get into the specific keys to victory, anything else about Nolensville's offense or defense or Franklin's offense or defense before we get into the keys to victory?
I'm excited to see him play, man.
I'm pumped up, right? Okay, now let's get into my favorite segment of yours. Start the car. Give me the keys to victory, Chad. Okay, you like that? Okay, all right.
For the offense, Franklin's offense, the number 1 key to victory is protect the quarterback.
That's right. Look what he threw for 250 and 4 touchdowns. When time that allows him to do that when you give him time. Right. That's why the first people we shouted out were those Hogs up front last week because they did such a good job, which was able to let the offense run routine. Continue.
And we can talk about Lucas Young and Sean Gaka and Brewer Wilson. We
all
can
these
talk
great
about
skill
these stars.
Absolutely.
It's nothing without the guys up front. So number 1 has got to be protected.
And Wills Jackson is such a good deep threat that most of the time his routes take a long time to develop.
Right.
And so if you got to give him time, that gives us Brewer the opportunity to get the ball to him down the field. All right.
You ready for number 2?
I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm on the edge of my seat here. Come on now.
The second key to victory for Franklin's offense is no penalties.
No penalties, right? A clean game. That can mess up, no matter how well you're doing, that can mess up any drive.
We cannot get behind the stick like we've gotten in the past. Last week, I think we had a great mix of running the ball and passing the ball.
I like the good
balance. And you can do that when you're ahead of the chains, having 2nd and 5s and 2nd and 3s, which we had a lot of last week. Penalties, when you start with 1st and 20 or 2nd 15, it makes your offense more predictable and you can't get that rhythm going.
I love that. All right, now we're down to the third and final key. I might get producer Chuck to give me some popcorn when you're doing the keys to victory. I mean, this is how suspenseful it is.
Number 3 is ball security.
Security.
What did they say?
They say, you know what they say? They say ball security is job security.
Ball security,
Ball security. We were doing when we were filming one of our podcasts earlier in the week. I was flipping this pen around. I actually lost it. It kind of flew out of my hand, and the first thing I thought was ball security is job security.
That was strike 1.
That was exactly.
But for Franklin's offense, 0 turnovers last week.
I love that. And look at the result.
Right, and so that helps out the defense. They're not we did have the fumble, but we recovered. It's not technically.
Yes, not a turnover, but it is.
But,
yes.
We need to protect the ball. Not give Nolensville a chance. Anything extra, right?
Right, of course.
Yeah, so that's number 3 for the Franklin offense.
Okay, so that concludes the keys to victory for the Franklin's offense. Now, Jed, do we also have keys for the Franklin's defense?
Come
on, more keys to victory. Come on, we need a chain over here for how many keys you have.
For some people might forget the defense, not this guy.
Not this guy, because they say, what does it win? Allegedly, defense wins what?
championships.
No, that's what we're trying to do. That's the goal right here. Come on. So we don't want to leave them out.
Let's look at the defense. Number one is going to be stop the run. Nolensville in every game this year has started out running the ball heavy. Even with if they weren't having success, they stuck with it. They wanted to be something that they established early on. Stop the run is number one, and you know that plays right into Dr.
Now, Dr. Defense. I mean, that's like asking the queen if she knows her manners. You know what I mean? Like that is Dr. Defense's MO, and I love that, which is why it fires me up. I mean, I feel like if he played defensive line in college, so he played college ball just like we did, except at probably had a higher level than we did, which is all right. We paid to play. We love the game. And so he played defensive line, and he coaches like he played defensive line. Yeah, and so to your point, that fits right into his MO.
I think we stop the run. And we make this quarterback in his fourth game ever starting beat us with his arm.
Smart.
The second key to victory.
Second key. Here we go.
Contain the quarterback.
Okay, not let him roll because you said they do a lot of rollouts, so we got to contain him.
A lot of rollouts. He is a faster guy. He didn't run a lot.
Right, he does
early in the season, but he can. Yes. So that's another play where it's 3rd and 10. We have to keep eyes on the quarterback. We can't let him scramble away for a first down. And I think being able to contain him on some of those rollouts will help Franklin's defense a lot.
Right, because then that helps out the secondary. If we're able to contain him and not let him get into open space and look downfield, then it clogs that up. That gives our DBs chances to make a play, which I know you love when DBs get the chance to make a play. Okay, the final key. Here we go.
The final key for Franklin's defense, and dare I say, maybe the most important.
Do I need a drum roll here? Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Eliminate the screen play.
Oh yes, they do. On those, a lot of what comes with RPOs that we've talked about earlier on the chalkboard come a lot of screens. Okay, so we got to eliminate the screen play. I love that.
They ran receiver screens. They run running back screens, and this is something sore subject. I know FRA killed us with screens.
Yes.
I think that Nolensville is going to watch that because they already run a lot of screens.
Yeah, so it plays into their favor.
Right, exactly. So we have to be ready for that. We have to prepare for that, and better than we did against FRA.
But I will say to our defense's credit, since that FRA game, I'm specifically thinking about like guys like Jay Little and Teagan here.
Yep.
When they are trying to get blocked out on the perimeter when a screenplay is happening, they have been shedding these blocks and getting to the receiver at the point of impact. As soon as he catches that ball, he doesn't have time to think. He doesn't have grass, right? He's ball in the hands minus grass. Is that equation? And so I really love that as one of our keys is to continue because they're gonna run screens. We know that, and I feel like a big way to stop that is block shed on the perimeter and not getting handled out there. Yep. Which is why I like why Lucas Young is on our team. I don't know if you know this, Jed. Actually, speaking of Lucas Young, we're going to love to talk about Lucas Young so much that I'm going to talk about Lucas Young in a new segment. Okay, so when in any industry, real estate, if you're selling a house, you look at the next house to see what it went for, and you call that a comp, which stands for comparison. In the NFL draft, when there's a guy coming out of college, they're going to ask for a comp. What's an NFL receiver that he is compared to kind of give them a good idea of what to expect when they draft him? And so we have one of our sharps that we mentioned in professional game, Lance Cook, right? Dad playing the CFL and everything. He loves comps. And so we're going to go to a new segment I call Good Comp, Bad Comp. Okay, and Jed, how the segments works is I texted Lance about Lucas Young, all of his traits and everything. He gave me a comp for him, and you're going to determine whether that's a good comp or a bad comp, and then we're going to do a different player each week. How do you feel about this?
I'm excited.
All right, here we go. Good comp, bad comp. Good comp, bad comp. Okay, the exact words from Lance is, my comp for Lucas Young is Cooper Kupp. Okay? Jet, good comp or bad comp?
I'm going to go bad
comp on the first time. Sorry, Lance.
I'm going to go lazy comp.
Lazy comp? No, that's even worse. That's not even an option I gave.
Lance, we love you. Lance is at an unfair advantage here.
Yes,
because
he's never necessarily. He doesn't know Lucas like we do.
We coached Lucas in 5th grade.
Yeah. So. But Cooper Kupp is a Triple Crown winner in the NFL, for those who don't know. A couple years ago, he led the league in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions. So not a bad, talent-wise, he's a talented guy. Yeah, okay, so go ahead. Go.
Lucas's playing style just
isn't
doesn't
exactly
remind
you of Cooper Kupp. Okay.
I think Lucas is a physical receiver, And he's got a great blend of
Does this mean you
strength,
have a replacement
speed,
comp for
size.
him?
I do have a replacement comp for
Okay,
him.
what do you got?
I got Nico Collins.
Nico Collins for the
I
Texans.
think what they have in common, they're both big receivers,
Nice.
tall, strong, but
What?
they have speed,
What?
strong hands.
What?
They can go up and get the ball.
Let's go.
They remind me a lot of each other.
Okay, hey, that was a good,
Good-
good comp, bad
good
comp.
comp.
I like it. I'll agree with you. I like both of where your head's at and everything. So I agree with you though. I think playing style wise, I like the Nico Collins comp. Talent wise, maybe Cooper Kupp, but play style wise, I like the Nico.
Lance, try again next week.
Next week, try again next week, Lance. You'll be hearing from us. All right, now any final thoughts on this specific Franklin Nolensville game before we jump into the other ones?
Yes.
Kind of games? Okay,
I'm
do.
so glad you mentioned
Here
this.
we go.
I don't have this on my paper. but
Okay, is
it's
this
been-
an extra key to
No,
this?
no.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
it could
It
be.
could be.
It
Okay.
could
The
be.
more keys, the better.
I was disappointed in the Franklin faithful on Friday night.
Okay, I actually wasn't at the game, so this is news to me. Jet, tell me about this.
I just know we can bring it more, guys.
Especially at a home game this week?
Especially at a home game. Sharp Tops this weekend as well. So a lot of the students are going to be out.
That means
So
the fans
the
got
fans
the
have got to
parents,
pick up the
friends.
student section slack.
I love
And,
that.
guys, I know it's a little bit embarrassing to get loud when everyone's quiet.
Right.
But it's for the boys.
Yes, exactly. It's for the boys.
I can't emphasize enough how much this can actually have an impact on the game.
100%
And
it does.
if you start cheering, everyone else will too.
Yes,
And
exactly.
This will literally have a direct impact on the game. You don't have to go crazy, stand up with your cowbell like me and my mom are at the top. I promise you won't look as stupid as we do. But just get a little stomp going
That's
on the
right.
bleachers.
Get some hands
Get some
moving.
hands.
Get some rowdiness screaming.
Everyone wants to.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm calling out the Franklin faithful. If you're listening to this podcast, you're a loyal fan. So it's going to start
Absolutely.
with these people. Get loud on Friday. Represent Franklin. We were great at FRA.
Oh, I loved it. We were rowdy.
It was
Absolutely.
not the same energy at Independence. So I wonder. It almost seems to me like we need to have the worst refs of all time to get
Absolutely.
the fans
Absolutely.
vocal.
On Friday nights, just for Friday nights, how do you feel about this? A little more Broadway, less downtown Franklin. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
A little
yeah.
more Broadway. Get some rowdiness
Yeah,
on you.
yeah.
Just on Friday nights in the stands, because it really does. It can help the momentum of the entire game. There's a reason they call it home field advantage.
Yep.
And that's because of the fans.
Yep.
All right. Any final thoughts before moving on? All right, I love it. Great. Super proud of the boys. I can't wait to watch them. Now we're moving on to probably one of our favorite rounds, Jet, as we get a snapshot, a.k.a. a pulse of the nation of all the other games in Williamson County. Say it with me on three. Moving on to segment 1, 2, 3. The lightning round. All right, how about that graphic? We had the actual lightning
Shout out
round.
producer
Shout out
Chuck,
producer
man.
Chuck. I love that. Okay, well, now flipping over to the lightning round. Here we go. We've got Fairview taking on Cheatham County.
Oh wait, I'm just bringing this on you in a moment.
Yeah,
Can we
yeah.
make picks in the lightning round?
Sure,
Can we add that?
absolutely. Of course we can
All
make
right,
picks.
let's
We
do
can
it.
make picks.
Let's do it.
All right, who do you got against Fairview, Cheatham County? My dad went to Fairview. He was Mr. FHS Fairview High School back in the
about that
day. How
guy?
about producer
Doesn't
Chuck?
surprise me
Doesn't
at all.
not no surprises at all. So I'm gonna pick Fairview over Cheatham County. What about you?
I'll pick Fairview as well.
We got Overton versus Ravenwood. I know Ravenwood's just got a lot of talent, so I'm gonna go Ravenwood over Overton.
I agree with you, Ravenwood.
CPA versus BGA. I'm conflicted here. I got good. Hey, Drew Martin, legendary Hall of Fame quarterback at BGA. Okay, so I'm conflicted here. I also work with a lot of guys who got some dogs for sons that play at CPA. So I'm conflicted here. But BGA's putting up points. CPA, so I'm going to stay out of this because I got too many
Oh,
per person
my
of interest.
gosh,
Okay, you
dude,
know what? Maybe I'll make my
come
pick. All right, I'll make my
yeah,
pick. I'll
let's
make my
go.
pick.
Peer pressure. This is great.
Give me CPA against BGA. Go
I
with
have
BGA.
to take CPA
All right,
too. I
the
think
physicality.
Yeah,
They're just a good
BGA
team.
has the high flying offense.
Exactly.
I don't know if they've played competition like CPA yet.
I
gotta go with CPA.
completely agree. Summit versus Brentwood, I'm taking Brentwood.
Brentwood.
Shout out Chris Moore, legend,
Shout
Hall of
out
Famer
Chris Moore.
Chris Moore. Talk about a person of
The
interest.
only shout out that Brentwood.
Okay, NBA versus Father Ryan, I'm taking NBA, even though they dropped one last week.
Yeah, I'll take NBA as well.
Indy versus Beach, I like Beach's talent. I'm going Beach.
Yeah, me too.
Page versus Coffee County. Coffee County beat Tullahoma in the coffee pod. Don't like that, but Franklin lost to Page. I got to go. I'm going to root for Coffee County here, actually.
Dude, I hate to tell you again.
I know.
I want to go with Coffee County too. I don't think Page is the same team.
All right, how about
in the
this?
past.
Springfield versus Centennial. You know me, I'm taking Springfield all day. I'm taking Springfield all
I'm
day.
going to take Centennial.
Okay, here we go. All right, that concludes the lightning round. Now moving on to our final segment where we level up here, and we're going to talk about some NFL games this week. We're going to switch it up. We did this last week, so professional bettors are called sharps. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sharp Tank. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. Nice. I was
All right,
late.
here we go. So last week we just did the games, but now we're going to switch over to actually games and player props.
Yep.
You'll pick the spreads. I'll do player props. Patriots versus Jets. Jets minus 6.5.
Gosh, 6.5 is a lot for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
They have not put it together yet with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots defense has looked really good.
I like this.
6.5 is a lot of points, but prime time. I think this might be the week the Jets put it together. Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. I'll take them minus 6.5.
I love that. Okay.
Lance Cook's gonna hate me, but I'll take.
All right, I'm
going to
do one player I like from each team, one prop. I like Breece Hall for the Jets over 4.5 receptions.
Yep.
And I like Jacoby Brissett, the quarterback for the Patriots, over 167.5 passing yards. I know he's not a great thrower of the football. I mean, compared to the other guys,
167,
but that's a low number. Next game, Broncos versus Bucks. Bucks are minus 7.
Man, the Bucks are rolling
They
this year,
are
aren't they,
rolling.
man?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to pick them last week against the Lions. I hesitated because of how good the Lions have been, especially at home. I'm going to trust Baker minus 7. It's a lot of points, but I think this offense can win by at least 7. They can win by 3 touchdowns.
I love that. Vice versa, the Broncos offense struggled, so I'm actually going to do a prop where the Broncos' first drive ends in a punt.
Okay,
that's
nice.
a good bet.
Okay.
And then the Chris Godwin over receptions. He had over 10 receptions last game.
Do you have the odds on the punt? Because that's pretty.
Yes, it's like it is. It's pretty likely. It's like minus 155, minus
That's
160.
good.
Yeah. But
Because they're definitely
You
going
get
to
it?
punt. Bo Nix is trash, dude. He is garbage.
Okay, now we're moving on. Giants minus 6.
Browns minus 6, Giants Browns. Malik Neighbors balled out last
Mm-hmm.
week. The Browns improved last week. Defense is still good. It's a lot of points for the Browns. I think I'm going to go Giants here. Is it in Cleveland?
That's a good question. I think it is in Cleveland. In the dog pound.
I'm still going to go Giants,
Okay.
man.
I like, to your point about Malik Neighbors, he had 18 targets last week.
Wow.
And so I'm going to go Malik Neighbors over on his receptions. By the way, if I don't have numbers for it, it's because the player prop hasn't come out yet. The exact number is still being worked on.
But we trust him that much.
We trust him that much. And the same thing, Devontae Foreman, I feel like his number's still going to be low because he's a backup running back, but he had 14 rushing attempts. They gave him the ball
that's
14.
awesome.
So I'm going to go Devontae Foreman, running back for the Browns, over rush attempts.
Yep.
Packers versus Titans minus 3. Titans favorite minus 3 against Malik Willis.
Against Malik Willis.
Yeah.
The Packers, what LaFleur did last week, having
Mm-hmm.
Malik in there was really impressive. I'm going to think that, the Titans, we've looked so good at points. I could sit here and talk for this game for 30 minutes. I'm not going to do it. Give me Titans minus 3.
Titans minus 3. I'm taking Malik Willis under passing yards. I don't think he had over 100 passing yards last week, so whatever his under is, I'm taking that, and I'm taking Calvin Ridley anytime TD. I love Calvin Ridley anytime TD last week. He put up 2 TDs. I think it's going to happen again. Chargers at Steelers minus 1.5. Steelers minus 1.5.
This is a tough one, too.
It
It's
is.
a really close one. That's going to be a great game. I'm excited to watch that. I like what's the Steelers. I trust Harbaugh. I trust his run game with Dobbs and Herbert. I really like the Steelers' defense, and I think Justin Fields fits in well with the offense. I'm going to go Steelers.
I'm going to take the under in this game. It's a low
Good
number.
call.
It's a low number, but 2 defensive and running games on the offense. I'm going to go under 35.5. That's a low number. I'm going to go George Pickens over 47.5 receiving yards since he's the main target. And then Quentin Johnson under his receiving yards, whatever that number comes out to be. Not a dog. Eagles versus Saints. Saints minus 2.5.
I'm still not selling in on the Saints.
Okay, so
dude.
you're taking the Eagles plus
I'm
2.5.
I'm going to take the Eagles.
I'm going to take the Saints' first drive result to end in a passing touchdown because that's what's happened That's what happened last game. Or the game before that. Anyway, they're airing it out.
Definitely happened the first game.
Yeah,
I think it did last
they're
week.
airing it out. So I'm going to take that because those would be good odds. I'm going to take Covey, the receiver for the Eagles.
You got a lot of targets last
so I'm
night.
going to take over receptions for him.
Mm-hmm.
Texans versus Vikings. Vikings are plus 2.5.
Vikings are another one of those teams. I just like the Saints. I just can't really buy in.
So
yet.
you're
They've had a
taking
lot of
Texas
success.
minus 2.5?
Yeah, I think the Texans looked really good even against. They struggled in the second half against the Bears, but they have such a great defense. I'll still take the Texans.
I'm going to take Nico Collins, a.k.a. Lucas Young, over 71.5 receiving yards. I'm going to take Sam Darnold over 218.5 passing yards. Bears versus Colts. Colts are minus 1.
Give me Bears.
The band +1. I love it. I'm going to take DeAndre Swift under 52.5 rushing yards. He's gone under that the past 2 games. I got burned. I thought Anthony Richardson, he had 200 passing yards. His number's still at 181.5, and he had 200 last week. So we're going to go Anthony Richardson over on passing yards for that one. Panthers versus Raiders. Raiders are -5.5. I think Andy Dalton is starting for the Panthers.
I like NFL teams when they have a new quarterback starting. I think it's going to give that team some juice.
And the Raiders aren't great, and so
No.
Panthers +5.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take Panthers.
Okay, here's what I like.
It's a risky pick.
I like Chuba Hubbard over receiving plus rushing yards. And here's interesting. The line is 5.5, and so I like that you can bet the final, anyway, let me just say this. Raiders to win by 4 to 6.
Okay.
From 4 to 6. Raiders to win by 4 to 6. Dolphins versus Seahawks. Seahawks -4.5.
I haven't seen enough from Skylar Thompson that.
So you're okay, yeah. And that's a low number for the Seahawks. I mean, I like that number.
I'll take the Seahawks.
I'm going to take Devontae Achane, running back for the Dolphins, over receiving plus rushing. I'm going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba, receiver for the Seahawks, over on receptions. Niners versus Rams. Rams are +7.
Yeah, Rams are just banged up, man. The
Yeah.
Niners dropped one last week. I think they shake back, get a big win on
So
Sunday.
because Christian McCaffrey's hurt, I'm going to take Jordan Mason, the backup running back, over rushing yards. And I'm going to take Demarcus Robinson, since Cooper Kupp's hurt, over on receiving yards. I think Nakua's hurt too.
Yeah, he is.
Lions versus Cardinals. Cardinals are +2.5.
Man, it's a great game, too. I can't wait to watch that one. I'm high on the Cardinals, but Lions lost one at home last week. I don't think Dan Campbell's going to let that happen again. I think he's going to have the boys fired up this week, and I got Lions.
Marvin Harrison scored 2 touchdowns in a quarter last game. I think he gets to Marvin Harrison anytime TD, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown under receiving yards, since Jared Goff hasn't had as much time as he has had in the past. Ravens versus Cowboys. Cowboys +1.
I think the Cowboys are going to be pissed off after last week, too. It sounds crazy to think about the Ravens starting the season 0-3.
I know.
But I think that's what's going to happen. I got Cowboys.
Unbelievable. I'll take Jake Schoonmaker, now that Jake Ferguson's out, over receiving yards. He's the Cowboys tight end. Zay Flowers over 53.5 receiving yards, receiver for the Ravens. Chiefs versus Falcons. Falcons +3.5.
Chiefs versus Falcons. That's a Sunday night game, right?
Yes.
Dude, man, the Falcons last night impressed me a little bit, especially from what they did the week before.
Absolutely.
I think I'm still not sold on Kirk in prime time, but it's going to be the biggest game Atlanta's had in a long time in Atlanta. I like the defense. I love those DBs, dude. I think that they're going to be able to play deep.
Absolutely.
And I think they're going to be able to give Mahomes trouble on offense. Give me the Falcons.
Okay, give him the Falcons. I'm taking the first half. 2 really good defenses. I'm taking the first half under at 22.5. Just in the first half. And then I'm taking the Bijan over rush attempts. I think he had a great game last week. And I think they're going to feed him the rock. Give me Jaguars versus Bills. Bills -5.5.
Yeah, I think that the Jags have not been as impressive this year as their fans wanted them to be. Josh Allen is just stepping up every single season, dude. He's such a dog. Give me Josh Allen, dude. I'm not going to bet again. What was the line?
Give me Josh. Yeah, -5.5. Bills -5.5.
I'll take Bills -5.5.
I want to take Josh Allen anytime TD scorer, and then a square of any quarter. Bills 7 to Jags 3. Square of any quarter. Commanders versus Bills -5.5. Commanders versus Bengals. Bengals -5. 7.5.
Bengals -7.5. Man, I like Jaden Daniels. They had a big win, picked up his first win.
This is our final game. Yeah, this is the last game.
Yeah, 2 Monday night games next week. I'm going to go. Man, the Bengals are going to be pissed off. They're 0-2. It's in Washington?
I think it might be in Cincinnati.
In Cincy. 7.5. Give me Jaden Daniels in primetime to cover. They're not going to win.
Give me Jaden Daniels to go over on rushing yards. He's been scrambling a lot. And finally, Jermaine Burton over receiving yards. Now that Jamar Chase is getting doubled everywhere.
Yep.
Finally, that was the Shark Tank. Appreciate you watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. To all the Franklin faithful, we'll see you on Friday night.